Hello everyone, this is Andrew, and in this series of tutorial, as some of you have requested, I will show you how to create a simple CRUD system in PHP. Now, for those of you that don't know what CRUD means, you can see here CRUD stands for Create, Read, Update and Delete Records from MySQL database, and that is using PHP. Let's quickly begin with the creation of our database. I'm gonna go ahead and minimize our editor here. I am gonna open my PHP admin site here. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and create a new database here, and I'm gonna call this database simply tutorial. I'm gonna go ahead and hit create. Then inside this table tutorial, I'm gonna create a this database tutorials. I'm gonna create a new table. I'm gonna call it people, and I'm gonna assign it 4 columns. The first one of the columns I'm gonna name ID. The second one I'm gonna name first name. The third one last name, and finally the last one I'm gonna name age. Then I'm gonna set the first name as varchar here of 50 characters long, the second one of varchar also 50 characters long, and the age I'm gonna set it to 3 characters long and as integer. And as usual, I'm gonna set the ID field here as auto increment and primary key. I'm gonna go ahead and save the table here, and now you can see here that the table is created successfully. Now I'm gonna minimize the browser here. I'm gonna go ahead and create a new project on my local web server. I'm using WAMP on Windows. You see here I have a www folder opened. Now go ahead and say new folder. I'm gonna call this folder with the same name of our database, tutorial. You can name it whatever you want. I name this folder tutorials just for easy name remembering here. And I'm gonna go ahead and create a new file, save as, and navigate to my folder here, tutorial. I'm gonna save it as db.php. Now in this folder in this file here, db.php, we will store the code which will enable us to access the database, and then we will include this file wherever or whenever we will need to get access to our database, and we can do that by using this simple code here, php just a comment here, MySQL connect, or I'm gonna assign a variable here, connection is equal to MySQL connect. Localhost is, since this is a local web server, my username is root and my password is blank. And then after this code here, I'm gonna add this little bit of other code, or die MySQL error, and this is for debugging purpose. If this code here fails, so if our code does not connect, our website does not connect to the database, then we would be output in the browser an error code which will enable us to identify where the problem is. And here in the next line I'm gonna go ahead and select our database. As you can see here in my local host here server, we have, or you might have, several databases, but in my case here I need to use only this database tutorial here, so we need to tell to our software here which is the database that we're interested in this case tutorial. I'm gonna go ahead and select and say here MySQL select DB. This is how we select the database after opening the connection here, after connecting to the server. And our database is tutorial. The connection is connection. This second parameter here is not really very important. This is important only if you have many MySQL connections here and you need to specify here which is the connection that you want to use to access your database. But I usually do this code here just to make sure not to let the PHP, let's say, lose time on finding out which is the connection that I want to use here. However, the PHP is very good at doing this by itself, but I'm gonna use this way. And then I'm gonna add this little bit of code here again for the same purpose. I'm gonna save here, and I'm gonna test this code here in my browser. You can see here my projects tutorial, and inside this project tutorial I have this db.php file which I'm gonna click, and right now you are not seeing anything. That is because I believe that our code is executing correctly and we don't have any error, but I will simulate an error for you here just so you can see if we have any error. Or we could do, okay, I will simulate an error. For example, I will add the non-existing password here, like 123. Now go ahead and save and refresh, and you see here that we have this code here, this error, access denied for user root at localhost using password yes, and that is because the code here is not finding any user with the name root and the password 123 on our server here. I'm gonna quickly fix that, delete this here. This is just to show you that our code is working, and also I'm gonna say just for demonstration purpose I will say here tutorial 123, so a non-existent database here, name, refresh, and as you can see here the error is unknown database tutorial 123, and the code is right here because we don't have a database called 123. I'm gonna go ahead and delete this part. And this is how we can test whether we have written the code correctly here. I'm gonna go ahead and minimize this here. And I believe that that's it for this part, and see you in the next part of this tutorial. And in the next part I will show you how to output the data from our database to our browser in a user-friendly way in HTML. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next part.